No, it's just a little zone there, but let's see what happens.
Alright, so there's yesterday's close. Let's look at your market here. What do I see? Well, actually, that looks pretty decent right there.
Yeah.
You're following your trend line if you do take something.
And it hit that zone on the 5 minute. I can't see it good on yours, but it's on 21:20 time on the 5 minute. Right, the little.
Yeah, I don't have zones turned on right now.
Right there, that's zone.
Yeah.
No, the other one, next to it, further
Up, right
here. The little doji down here, the green one, the little gap, right, that one right there.
Yeah. So your zone looks something like this.
Yes, I had my stop at 24.
Cool. Well, looks good to me. There's the top part of that range.
Yeah.
And you might get some resistance right here. Reason being is you have that previous low and those previous lows over there. And you have a hiccup candle right in here.
Okay.
So it actually may go down just a little bit more or something like that.
Morning, guys.
Morning, Jeff.
How are you?
Doing well, doing well.
Good, good.
Now, personally, I know this probably looks different on whatever you use to enter, but personally, I like to get like this type of entry candle set up, like where it does a full body engulf off of that, touching the zone, full body engulf, or maybe something like this where it's a smaller first bar and then the second bar engulfs it and really closes below it. Well, I guess that one didn't really close below it, but that's what I like to use. Now, again, this is a 5-minute chart, so it may look different on what you're using to enter on, but that's just what I like to see.
Okay.
I found that especially this pattern right here, like this, usually is a pretty big momentum push. So, yeah. Wow, crude just took off to the bottom.
Yeah, it's plummeting. Are we heading to 101.16? Yesterday's low.
Yeah, I don't know.
Got it like on a 5-minute, you can see the big drop overnight, and then it consolidated from 3:30 Central Time to 7:30, and then bam, the other side of the drop. So drop, base, drop. And here you come into that zone now.
The fact that it's making a new low right before the open is a very interesting thing.
Got to reset it so it can go up, right?
Maybe. Well, just looking at this stuff together here, hopefully everybody can see my charts, but we're going to be opening up down here, which is pretty crazy.
Why is it crazy?
This thing just, it didn't want to make or complete the move to the 103.80 level, which means, like, to me, we definitely have weakness to the downside, because this thing
make it to an upper zone,
right,
or lower high, I guess.
Yeah, we stalled out to make it to an upper zone. Therefore, taking long trades is probably not a good idea out of the gate. And you see, like, it's pushing new lows down here, like the Globex low is readjusting. To me, it just means that there's really nothing there to hold it up,
How strong would you say the zone was that was created yesterday morning at the regular stock market open, 8:30ish, or I'm sorry, 9:30 North Eastern? Crude, that's when it created the zone that it just touched now.
Let me see if I can see what you're talking about.
Well, 101.16 is the low.
Oh, that one?
Yeah. Think there's too many candles there? On a 5-minute, too much time spent for that to be a strong zone to, send it back higher?
My problem is it's just been here so many times. So I really don't think it's going to hold.
Yeah, you're through it now. At least you wicked through it anyway. 101.11, so you wicked by 5 cents below it, now you're coming back down through it.
And because it has failed to get up even to the other hourly zone at 103.80, like, that's just huge negative bias for me right there. So trying to establish a little bit of that context is what I'm looking at. Let's see what that looks like there. Let's clear some of these trend lines here.
I'm looking at a 60-minute chart that has 103.72 to 104.38 as a zone it didn't make it into. Is that the one you're referring to?
I'm referring to this like hourly zone up here of 103.80 up to 104.41.
Gabriel, why wouldn't that match? I'm looking at you're looking at a 60-minute time frame on top of your 15-minute chart. I'm looking at a pure 60-minute chart. Why wouldn't those zones be the same?
All right. So here's the deal. In between the RTF, or regular trading hours, which is during the U.S. session for me, since I'm here in America, that zone is different.
Or using RTH, okay.
That's an RTH zone, and this is like 24/7. Okay, so all those levels in the Globex session and all that stuff will be on this 24 session. But if price goes through a zone in the extended trading hours, but doesn't, then comes back down out of it, or before the market opens, then these zones will still stay intact. So it's a little, it's a little different. So I like to be aware of both.
Okay.
Now,
which one do you think holds more validity, or which one is stronger? Does our crude market rule as far as strength, or are they 6 of one, half dozen of the other?
I like taking the 15-minute zones off the RTH,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure which one to tell you to look at. You know,
Okay.
it
Sure.
a lot of times if I can find a 60-minute level on either one that corresponds with like the Globex high or low, that would be the one
Mm-hmm.
to look at.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just some general observation, you know.
Okay. Sure.
Maybe it's
Problem is, you can get
helpful.
so confused if you look at too many things.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we
That's
need to
my
keep it
concern.
simple. Yeah. So look for the zone that confirms like your Globex high or low or a close
Mm-hmm.
or like maybe even yesterday's high or low or something like that. So
Okay.
so we really gapped down here, folks. Like this is a huge gap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're well through that yesterday's low.
Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking it would be nice to take the short, but where do you get in? You know?
Yeah. You could go to a 1 minute and try to see if it's, building another supply zone. It's an awfully small time frame, but
Mm-hmm.
wanted to join the trend. I guess what's the profit? What's the distance between your next zone though?
Mm-hmm. Well, I have some tricks for joining the trend here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like this and drop consolidation and then continues to drop, or a drop base drop
Mm-hmm.
in OTA terms. Uh, I'm going to be looking for that as possible resistance to the high side,
All right,
and I can.
wait for it to pull back up to there
Mm-hmm.
to join the downtrend.
Okay, we got kind of a wick going on here, but I don't know that there will be a trade here in crude for a while, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you just have that vertical blue zone there to kind of highlight the open?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to pay attention to time. This is from the APA time zones, so I like
Right.
to be centered on the chart and talking about what setups, like we could have uh, at that particular time, the top
Mm-hmm.
and the bottoms and the hours, kind of like what I've talked about before.
Right. Well, is that an APA time zone, or did you draw that?
Yeah, that's an APA time zone.
Oh, okay. I see. It just created another.
It's just, yeah, that's all it is. But anyway, so that's all it is. And right now I'm just kind of looking at the range of the open,
Mm-hmm.
because this is a pretty big opening range.
I wonder if it'll make it down to S2 before coming back up.
And my 12 ticks doesn't look like anything on here that I usually use for a stop. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, I try to stay around 12, but I'll go all the way up to 20,
Mm-hmm. 10 is just too tight.
It really depends, Jeff.
Depends on
Really.
the trade. Depends on the setup.
Yeah. I read the bars, but I like to stay around 12 because that means the market's consolidating. I don't want to be jumping into the market when I have a likelihood of like trying to base something off of this, like big 40-cent bar, whatever it is. Alright, so this red candle here technically is the first failure to break the low, but way outside my risk parameters. and you'd be looking going long, and if you were, you would have to be pulling your target at the topper edge of this thing at a like a 1-to-1 ratio, just because
Mm-hmm.
this big red candle is like really huge bearish pressure, you know, like,
Right.
and if this candle gets broken, then you know what, something new might be forming because the bears have now lost control, you know. But
Right.
at max, if for whatever reason you felt like that was a really good trade, you got to be aiming at the top of this candle for your first target, just because nothing here is guaranteed. But yeah, technically, it's not even an entry type of deal for me, you know.
Right. Yeah, when you look at regular trading hours, and if you got pivots on there, you only came down to S1, or just a little beyond.
Mm-hmm.
So what do the floor traders use? Probably just regular session.
This is actually yesterday's, so it's not today's yet.
I'm looking at my own 15-minute chart where I put
Oh, really?
regular trading hours,
Oh.
and came down, and the S1 was 177. It went down to 160.
Mm-hmm.
So 17 ticks lower before turning around and heading higher.
Mm-hmm.
Now what it could do now is go up and bounce off of yesterday's low and start heading lower.
Right, so this is the area that I was talking about, like, if you had, you know, seen that first failure candle,
Mm-hmm.
I would want to be
Right.
taking profits right here, just because, you know, nothing's a guarantee that bears are really going to give up control. And it's at the topper edges of this thing that you want to be looking. But this is, that whole situation right there was just price action reading. And knowing a little bit about how the bars form and, I guess, experience.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I guess why I was mentioning this one was you have a real big wick on this other candle here, which, you know, usually says to us like buyers are really
Reversal.
coming in, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty close to a really pretty looking hammer candle, but
Right.
there's nothing down here, you know. This is a brand new low. I have
There's the
no.
fact that, Gabriel, if you look at that candle that had the long wick and then count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that big red candle, the fact that it had no wick on the bottom of it, would that tend to make you think there wasn't going to be as strong of a move up?
Mm-hmm. Right, like this
There's
one
no
right
wick
here.
on that. There's yeah. Well, no, the one 4 over to the right of the doji wick, 5 over. I'm sorry, the one that you got your measuring tool ending on.
Oh, this one.
There. No, down. There, that one, yeah. Saying the fact that one had no wick and then the big green candle to the right of that had no wick, does that tend to mean that to you that it's not going to be a real long-lived rally?
I don't think it is. You know, I think it's going to come right back up to this consolidation area and drop back down. But you know, again, remember how we're talking about that little base drop area?
Mm-hmm.
So I think somewhere in here we'll find some type of support or some type of resistance, hard resistance for sure. But well, you know, you just gotta wait. Crude is doing crazy stuff, which is way outside of my my parameters for entering anything right now.
Yeah, right now you're coming right up against yesterday's low.
Mm-hmm.
So often it seems that crude comes within 1 penny, 1 cent of whatever line it is you've got drawn, and it turns. Got up to 101.15, and the line was 116.
Mm-hmm.
Here's 15 again. 17, 20.
Here's the base drop area. Now these zones, even though they're on my RTH chart, they should be disappearing as soon as this 15-minute candle closes, just because we've gapped through them, so that should cancel them out here in just a couple minutes. Alright, so here's the top of this red candle. Okay, we got one red candle here, but it hasn't broken the low. In a couple minutes we'll also be coming to our reversal time, like our first 15 minutes on the market, so see what happens there. Alright, there's the first deal of that.
So now you'd be looking for a setup off of that tallest green candle you got your wick on, right, or you had your cursor on a second ago?
Mm-hmm. I was looking to play these levels up in here, but it just one-ticked it, you know?
Well, it's not strong enough to get that high.
Yeah.
So you're looking for like halfway through the middle of that body of that green candle?
Well, it could come right back up here to the open. Remember how I like to play the opens a lot?
Uh-huh.
So it could come back up here to the open.
101.12.
Yeah. But I would love to see maybe a little bit of a double thrust. Just to make sure that that doesn't happen on us. I personally this is a big candle, you know? It's 21 ticks to get above it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just not willing to risk that much for a trend follow trade.
So you're going to make it get higher to reduce your risk.
Absolutely. I
Here it
want to
comes.
see the market really stall out, you know, before I get into a trend following play here. I also realized that that big push down moved us away from those moving averages, and those are kind of like plumb lines, if you will. So price needs to come back to the plumb line, or it always will, you know. But when will that happen?
Now, why did Appetime draw a quarter-hour bar, quarter-hour channel?
15 minutes seem to be something special, you know. I don't know what it is, but it.
So is it doing it every 15 minutes first?
No, it's only the first 15 minutes. You can turn it on or off in the settings, actually.
Okay.
I don't know, I've just noticed a lot of times there's little retracements at the first 15. So. I get sick of looking at these 150 tick zones. There's just so much going on.
Yeah, that's a lot to look at. It's a lot to look at.
I'm still waiting.
So the way you, while you're waiting then, the way you use that ruler tool, which I'm just going to use for the first time now, I brought it up so I now have a pencil on my cursor. You would take it at the very top of that one candle wick then, the green, highest green wick, or highest green candle with a wick, the most recent one that happened with a high of 101.22.
Right.
So you'd strike at the very top of that wick, and then you'd draw down to
wherever. Yeah. You just
know the distance from that to.
Like, let's say that we have a drop down here. So I can measure, like, as soon as it breaks this low, you know, I'm looking at 23 ticks of profit to the Globex low. And
you have three touches. You got a touch where you started it, then you've got another touch, then you take a turn that goes down.
1, 2, 3. Yeah. However you want to draw that.
So what is it measuring then? Is it measuring from the first touch 1 to touch 2, and touch 3 is just to post your sign?
Yeah. And it measures time, and it also measures the Y value.
Right.
Which is price.
Okay.
I love it.
So the first thing you'd be measuring would be the risk, or the top of that green candle's wick, to where you get in. Because wherever you get into that wick is approximately your risk.
And right now it's doing some funky stuff here.
Yeah, kind of consolidating. which since the move prior to that, I would say, was generally up into that consolidation, you would think it would then go even higher.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it broke higher than that channel and then came in and created it, generally the move was up, I would say.
Mm-hmm. But we have a nice tight little range right here.
Mm-hmm.
There it goes. To the downside. And see if it'll touch Globex low again. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little active zone forming right there. Yep, sure did. Alright, so we're coming up to the US market open, so let me put away this chart altogether here.
Gabe, if you look at CL on the 377 tick, do you ever count drives? So, for example, if you look at the 377 tick, going back to noon yesterday, Central Time, that was your high. You had one drive down, two drives down, three drives down, which ended at 8 o'clock this morning, Central. And then you've come down, you made a high, then you come down, you made a low, and if that's it, that could be making a lower high right now on the tick.
Mm-hmm.
And you would say then if that was really a 4 drives, then you're an exhaustion to the downside, and now you're potentially heading up.
Yeah, it's possible.
Anything is.
Yeah.
But does it look likely?
The problem that I find with the drives idea or the wave idea
Yeah.
is it's really, really subjective, you know? Like,
Mm-hmm. Like what's
unfortunately,
big enough to count?
right, right. Like, how big is big enough to count as a leg, you know?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Um, or what if you see a leg that's not really a leg, by somebody
Right.
else's definition, or how
Sure.
is that gonna,
Or how
it,
about where you are on the curve? Would you say we're low on the curve right now?
oh yeah, we're really low, but we've broken a new low, like we've broken
Mm-hmm.
through like the daily zones
So it's
that
like you're
have
in a
been,
whole new area now, a whole new operating field.
right, and I feel like we've made that new low. Um, Let me share with you here. Here's the daily chart, right? So I've
Yeah.
been playing this zone for a while, and we broke just a couple ticks below it, and now we've really busted that level, quite a
Mm-hmm.
bit. So looking to the right, yeah, I see a little bit of a base here where that
Mm-hmm.
red candle is amongst all the green coming up. So we
Right.
might get a little resistance, but
Mm-hmm.
is it going to be major? You know, if I had maybe another top to coincide with that, maybe. But I'm not even seeing another top at that area that I like. Like it's all the way back here in September of like last year, and
Mm-hmm.
it goes a whole lot higher than that, and I don't know. Um, Not feeling it so much. So, uh,
But
but
you're also at the time of the year when gas prices should drop, right?
sure.
I realize this isn't gasoline. This isn't gasoline, but this relates directly to gasoline, doesn't it?
Right, right.
WTI.
Mhm.
So this should be seasonally. This should be a time for oil to drop anyway, right?
It very well
I
could.
don't know if maybe down to $95.
And the other thing that like how we like to talk about the news all the time,
Mm-hmm.
is America has announced, or actually I read this on the BBC News just because I don't know, I don't like getting
Sure, it's less
extremely
yellow
biased.
journalism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but looking at that, they announced that America should be the #1 oil exporter, in the next like 15 to 30 years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So not only do we have enough oil for us, but to supply the world. So
Right. So that'll be a drag on price, even with China involved,
hmm now
because we're going to start using more and more natural gas, and we'll use less petroleum, which is why we'll be able to be a net exporter, I guess.
no, we found
Oh,
a huge amount of supply, huge amounts. North Dakota and like South Dakota areas, they're like
is that all due
sitting
to
up.
fracking?
Yeah, they're like sitting on like the largest oil reserve known. Is what
Wow.
I read on the BBC. Like
Mm-hmm.
huge amounts of oil in that
How do
fracking
you
thing.
time that for your trading daily though? It's just something to know off on the
Right,
horizon, I guess, that
right.
there's going to be continued downward pressure.
hmm
But
Just because,
day-to-day trading, you just got to play your zones, I guess. You're
absolutely.
getting a little strength now. But as you were saying, this could be just coming back up to test that. You got a little 1-minute zone at 1 to 113.
hmm
And you got to 1 to 112 so far, 1 penny short of it.
Alright, so here comes the open of the US session. Yesterday's close is right there. I gotta take off some of these zones because they're gonna drive me bonkers. Okay, I have a 15-minute level that we just hit. We just engulfed.
Extended trading hours, 15 minutes.
Yeah. Here's where the 15-minute zone is on the regular trading hours. But we're at the yesterday's close, so technically we've just had a gap closure, gap fill, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
It was just one tick higher than what we opened at, you know. So nothing there. Looking at the extremes, so Globex IMO. Draw that trend line to give me some context here.
And then if you look at extended trading hours, you got a 15-minute zone at 158. Price came down within 2 cents of it.
That is pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, 46 cents higher. Or 80-cent potential move totally if you got it all.
What time frame are you pulling that one off of?
That was the 15-minute extended trading hours.
15-minute, huh?
It's set to intelligent. You see the same thing?
Yeah, I don't have my 15-minute on there. I have my 5-minute, but I don't have my 15.
So basically right at the oil open. One minute into it.
Must have been from a previous day because the GlobeXO was making new lows, so it wasn't during the GlobeX time, that's for sure. I really like the 15-minute levels on that RTH. For whatever reason, feels like they do pretty good.
Price makes it to them and they respects them.
Mm-hmm.
Price never makes it to them, I guess it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go. Bam. Yeah, from that 15-minute ETH zone of 158, if you make it back up to S1, that's 100. That's a buck move.
It's not too shabby.
No, wish I was in.
Ha! Oil.
What?
Oil. Oh my God! What a friggin' nonsense. What's going on?
What did you do?
I'm long.
Oh, really? That's good.
Yeah, I took the T2, not for 30 ticks though. I took it right below that 1018 or that 10. I don't even know what we're at anymore. 101.21 to 101.14 zone. I just took T2 off there because I was like, because 30 ticks would have been right at the high of that zone, and I just.
So did you just get long here, like as it failed to break the Globex low?
I got between .80 and .90.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you. It actually looked like it was really hitting that level and hitting support pretty hard there. So.
Yeah.
I actually was short coming into that level, and
I can see what you did there and why you did it.
When I didn't get T2, I was like, I should probably have reversed like a tick or two ago.
My thinking was, so I went into kind of the day like, oh man, this is a really it's going to be a crazy gap down. The strength that it showed, around yesterday low was pretty good. I think you get a money bounce. So I was kind of like looking for a long, and then like going right into the pit open is right in that area. And I was getting ready. I was waiting, and then boom, all of a sudden it just starts puking off in the microchannel again, and makes a significant, lower low bust through those zones, and then it, kind of has a nice spike up, starts channeling, has a little double pump out of that channel, and then boom, another spike up again, and so my thinking was like, especially with that 15-minute close, and then like the red inside candle bar, which just kind of formed, but it was staying inside of it, that this is, even though we pierced well below, this is the I guess the big bump up, trying to cover a lot of that that crazy down move.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well, the fact that it popped the top of this big red candle, even though it was by a couple ticks, was like, but it's still, there's no reason why to buck a big move down, was my thinking, So I had to try this short trend following play.
No, I'm with you, because it easily could have just kept spewing down.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get like the nice, I'm looking at the 330 tick, but did you get short on, so it gets up to like 101.20, and then I have like 3 nice bear bars, and then I just have all the, like, a bunch of overlap between 101.12. Yeah, you got short on that.
Right, after it came out of the overlap, then I got T1, and then I saw inside bar right after that, and I was like, and then I saw red bar failing to break the low, and I was like, oh, and then I was like, yeah, this might stall out here, so.
Yep. What's going on? I mean, maybe I should pay attention to news or something like that. Whoa, what? I mean, we were just up at 103. I mean, I guess it turned exactly where I said it would turn yesterday.
Yeah.
I said, like, get it a little bit above that 103.40, and I think that's where sellers are sitting. And
Dude, this thing just has no conviction to go up, though. You know? Like, look
I
at your
hear ya.
daily chart. Look at your daily chart. There's just no conviction.
well, it looks like it's like a broader channel down, and like between now, because we've made like lower lows and lower highs from, you know, testing that 104 several times. And now, I mean, it could easily not be able to get very much farther up from here. You get a little trading range, and then boom, you get another pop down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I kind of like this level. So, that's where I think we are, you know?
Yeah.
But that also means we could also see 104 whatever back up here and retest the top side of this channel again.
Yeah. Yeah. And if
Maybe
it's going to
keep that
keep...
like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, see, and like the reversal could happen very quickly at any time, because I mean, just look at the price action, like right here. That's pretty reversal-esque. Yet, even though it could just be like a two-pump pullback, I mean, it was nice push down, and then you had a little overlap, and then boom, another nice push, and it's very, I mean, yeah, maybe like 101.10, you get some buyers, but I mean, I don't know. It just hit the trender, and I'm kind of like, I mean, those moving averages are getting kind of closer.
Mm-hmm.
I just, yeah. I'm not really thrilled with the long.
You have
but I'm in it.
exhaustion right here. Well, check this out. 150 tick. Ba-boom.
Yeah.
So you have a retest of that area. It's coming back in its consolidation. Good size wick on that candle. Failure to break the high, failure to break the high, failure to break the high. Boom, boom. You know? So, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm with you.
But I think this area of consolidation is actually holding right now.
Man. Oh, the TF is so pretty. I might really have to start looking into that over the NQ.
Oh, yeah?
Because it gaps right down. So at the open, it opens like right in a 15-minute RTH zone.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, you get your typical pretty big candles that generally happen right at the open, and then boom, Super Bowl, you know, spike up.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm looking for a pullback here on NQ, actually.
Yeah.
First 15 minutes of the day. You know, obviously we have this red candle in between the green candles. So, looking there, I have some type of trend line drawn there as well.
This 15-minute bar on the NQ is basically kind of telling us, like, you look at yesterday's gap up, and then boom, upward channel, and with that type of engulf, that's telling me that another bull spike is coming, and could easily, yeah, go up to 32.30.
I noticed that we just came back to the Globex high here. If this thing, you know, closes above this red candle, like this is going to be a pretty powerful bullish move, I think. But we'll see. I would like to grab a deeper retracement so I actually have some profit target that I can see before going into it. Well, market doesn't always give you what you ask for.
No.
Because now it's really strong.
Yeah. When it's really strong like this, like, you know, it's hard to do, but I mean, you know, your signals won't be as strong, but you just gotta, you know, press the buy button on little pause spots, because I mean that's like, that might be all the pullback that you can get. That happened several times yesterday.
Mm-hmm. This thing looks like it has that micro trend type of feature, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really great to be on the right side of this thing, but it really sucks to be trying to short it, you know?
Yeah. And that's the type of thing that I used to get in trouble with, because this was before I knew how to use price action. You know, if you're just going off zones and you can have a bunch of like good zones together, but if it's within the context of, yeah, you're going against the trend, it's getting ready for another spike, and you're trying to short within a microchannel, I mean, you can have like, you know, a fresh daily, weekly, 240-minute, 60-minute zone all right there together, and it's not going to be worth a dang.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why you got to use both. And so, yeah, the fact that it just like pushed so hard through Globex high, I mean, that's telling you all you want to, like, you definitely want to look for some kind of pullback, which, you know, can very easily happen coming up to this top of the hour. And also, hopefully, maybe it starts happening right now, and then a nice spot to try to look for re-entry on the NQ would be, yeah, right around Globex high, which I'm sure there's a 150 tick level.
Mm-hmm. We're also just retesting that 15-minute level.
Yeah, which, you know,
Which I don't really like trying to go against a fresh 15-minute level like that off of the RTH.
No, that's why with this you wait for like some type of, you know, two-legged pullback. So maybe we're getting leg one of it right now, because that was a nice bear bar.
Mm-hmm. But again, I'm going to wait for these two areas right over here. This.
Yeah, I like the one below the Globex high. Yeah.
If I can buy a pullback here, I'll take it, you know. Right now in CL, we're having a real good retest of the high there.
Yeah, it looked kind of like a little two-legged flag that formed, pullback flag, and I don't know. It's either going to come down here, otherwise we're going to get another spike up. Oh, no! How profound of a thing to say. Oh, it's either going to go up or it's going to go down. Dirt. Well, I mean, it's a hard profession, but it's kind of simple at the same time. You buy, you sell, you wait.
Lieutenant Dan told me that the market's either going to go up or it's going to go down.
I didn't. I wasn't always. Or I'm trying to think of a good sign. Or how could I phrase this?
Just so you guys know, John and I have this little Forrest Gump thing that we like to do. And
Oh, that's what it was.
yeah,
I
that's
know.
what it was.
I know what it was.
Yeah, look at that put. And see, that's how, like, if you were talking to, who's been talking just now? Is that Bruce, I think?
That was Jeff.
Oh, Jeff. Are you familiar with Al Brooks?
Only through Gabe.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of how I learned from him. So Al Brooks doesn't really pay attention to zones, but he's very good at just recognizing the nature of price action in the context. I mean, that's his thing. So just like right now, that nice bear engulfing that we had that was within that 15-minute, once he would maybe see like the 2-bar green engulf of that, he'd get long, because he would identify that this is such a strong trend. It's your signals aren't going to be as strong, and he kind of has an idea of like the market is it's always all in or it's all out, meaning that, or it's like it's all short or it's all long. Like you can read the context of like price action and be able to tell like, okay, this is going to be a long day, or a long morning, or I want to be looking for longs. I guess is another way to put it. And today is one of those days. Now, again, I think that's kind of like an aggressive thing to do. Going long right there, and I think part of that is because we also incorporate zone theory, and you much rather wait for some kind of like weak little pullback like maybe we're getting right now, rather than just waiting for just getting on the engulf of bear bars.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I got stopped out on my crude. Holy shit.
So did I. Just did.
Yeah. That's fine. Let's pop the hood on that sucker.
Russell, on the other hand, seems to be
and here's the other thing too. This, really, we haven't really talked about this scenario, but if you see like the right type of bearish price action, you could see a decent reversal, because it's, this was like a micro channel up that happened from the open, and it may not happen like that day, it may not happen right away, but like microchannels are retraced by other microchannels in the opposite direction, and it happens all the time. It's the same thing with gaps or like magnets.
You guys are throwing the microchannel around quite a bit. What do you mean by that?
Once you start seeing like a really steep ballistic move where you, like, let's say it's a bullish microchannel, and you just see like green bar on top of green bar, not very much overlap, like the next open of the green bar, maybe it overlaps a little bit of the top of the prior, but then it zooms up and make a higher high, and it just keeps doing that and doing that, and you might see like a little small bear bar pause once in a while, but it just, yeah, it just keeps, it, it keeps going. It's really fast. It's violent. It's awesome if you're on the side of it. It's awful if you're against it.
Right.
And yeah, and then from there, once you see these microchannels, a lot of times you'll see like pauses, trading ranges, and the trading ranges can
Sure,
be,
consolidation, yeah.
yeah, they can be sideways, they can be like directional, which are like channels and flags, and then if everything was strong enough, for example, this is kind of what we're seeing here on the NQ. You have at the open, you see very nice bull spike, and now that's gone into, we have a channel. We have like a weaker channel, but it's still pretty strong. It's not like as strong as that initial burst up that we saw, but the candles are more overlapping. Now what will happen a lot of times out of these, if the trend is strong enough, and it's kind of looking like what it is here, you will see another spike channel, and yeah.
It's really hard to get into them too, if you're not already in at the beginning. So like, remember when I commented at the open of the NASDAQ, like it was touching that 15-minute demand down here? So I had an inclination that it might be long, but yet there's good reasons why to wait till the Globex low and some other things too, Like these big wicks and big candles here at the open, to tell you the truth, they're just more than I wanted to risk, Yeah. So it was really hard for me to want to get on, but it's been extremely hard to get into this thing this whole entire time, This right here was probably your best pullback that we had just a couple minutes ago,
Yeah, the thing that stopped us out. It stopped me out anyway.
Oh, yeah. So that right there with that really small inside candle, this little hammer down there, I know that my stop would need to be down here, and then I just need to take the engulf of this thing. But you can see how steep the channel line or the trend line is, and it's just, this stuff stinks to try to get into a lot of times, because it didn't bounce back to the Globex low level or Globex high level. It didn't bounce back to that other little area that I was highlighted at. Like, it's just, this thing's really powerful, And if you look at it on the bigger time frame, like the 15-minute chart, you obviously see like these big 15-minute candles, and they just blew through this 15-minute zone. Yeah, it bounced a little bit off of it, but it's got some power here, And if you see a microtrend coming into a zone, even like a 15-minute that I like to take a lot of times, just wait, So just wait, because it can knock you for a loop.
Like big gaps are also, they're kind of like microchannels. So, on the NQ on your 15-minute, you see that big gap up yesterday. And then, so like a microchannel to the upside. And then, yeah, a very strong channel forms out of that.
Yeah, the indexes are going higher. That's the one thing I liked about Russell, is you usually didn't have to watch the other three indexes, because Russell would often operate independently. Today they seem to be going together.
Well, they're all kind of correlated, but I kind of agree with you on the Russell. And one thing I might like a little, like NQ, I've just really kind of started trading NQ a little bit, month and a half, and it can have, like, I don't know, some nasty pumps, some violent pumps that head fake people.
So far, I found, comparing Russell to oil, I found Russell to be much more orderly and not quite so. They both whip around, but it seems to be more directional.
Well, oil, I think, I gotta shoot. All right.
Maybe there's more swing back and forth on the way with oil.
I like that. 124, 25. That's 150 tick zones. No, don't do that.
I know that once that I've established this type of micro trend line, and we've had, a money bounce on it, is what I call this one, a secondary bounce. It won't be surprised to see a major pullback that knocks everybody out and possibly a push up even higher. So, just the way it likes to knock people around,
Mm-hmm. I get stopped out of Russell too now.
Still in my crude short.
Oh, did you just get short?
No, I've been short for
up on
20
the double
minutes
top?
or something. Yeah. Yeah.
I just got short on it. Come on, push. Push down a little, please. I got my stop at .24. No.
I'm about 15 ticks into profit right now, so
Yeah, that's good.
I'm trying to hold out for 30. But I need this area to break here on the short side.
I would like that too. I just liked it how it double topped and got pinned between my trender and the 5-minute moving average, and then the spike down from the lower high was very nice, and now we've just kind of had this like overlap flaggish action, and I'm hoping that it doesn't. I mean, if it pumps up again from here, I'm probably on the wrong side anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Probably gonna go higher. So we'll see if it works out. But I used to, I never had this type of play in my wheelhouse before I met Gabe. And now I do, and I like it. It's a good type of setup. But you have to be able to kind of read price action, let the bars speak to you.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you, bars. I hear you. Like that?
Mm-hmm. I do. That NQ is not relenting at all.
Come on, don't double bottom here.
Your previous bar was a pretty bearish bar, you know. So, 2 bars ago now, on the 1 minute. So I think it could happen. Nice. Yep, there we go.
Bink, bink. Alright.
Man, there must have been some major stops there, because it really
Yeah.
you know, people were holding that little level that had gotten long.
I just wanted to hit the T1 here. I do think, I mean, I was kind of aware when I took this trade that the lower low here out of that consolidation could, there could be buyers sitting here, and that, you know, from where it made a double top, this would have been the second push down, and it kind of still looks like we'd be in the confines of this channel. But here's the thing, this is why you always got to look at the context, and you can kind of see it on the 15-minute. You see the really ginormous spike to the downside, and then you can see these overlapping candles on the 15-minute chart, and you see like the initial one, that's one push, and then you see like this red inside bar, and then you see another one, that's push 2. And when you're trying to like follow trends, 2 pushes, from what I have found, is like where you kind of want to wait for your entries. And this could mainly just be, this could be a flag on the 15-minute, even though, you know, people looking at the 1 minute or a tick chart, I mean, it is kind of in a broad upward channel. But like, channels are flags, and flags are channels, and it's, you know, it's just being really able to understand the context and the perspective that's going on with your other charts that can, help you. But it's, and also, I mean, you would expect some kind of range to occur after that big, massive of a gap. I mean, and that's what we've had. I mean, it is a range. It's a directional range. But, and also just the fact, once you get that big of a bear bar, I mean, the idea that we are going to like be zooming up and filling the majority of this gap, I mean, if it were to happen, it's not going to happen right away. That's for one thing.
It would take hours and hours. Yeah.
Days. It could. It could. I mean,
could take days too.
Because it could just like range between 101.40 and 100, or 100.60, whatever.
And I think this 15-minute chart tells a little bit more here, but this was a big daily zone that we were in, and we had a lot of retests of this thing, you know? So we had
Yes.
2 good
Yeah.
retests, failure to break the high, which was up here, and now we're making a new low, you know? So
Mhm.
I say,
Yeah, exactly.
why buck the daily?
The other thing to kind of understand is like breakouts most of the time fail. That's why we take a lot of trend reversal plays. But when they do, I mean, eventually they happen. Eventually levels are broken out of, and new trends are formed. It always happens. But when you have like, this big pusher down, breaks that, the broad level that Gabe has highlighted, and then you start seeing it like basing the way that it is right here. A lot of times that's, get ready to see another push down. Now, I don't know. Crew's been very shenanigan-y lately, so I mean, it might push up hard enough right here that I get stopped out. But we hit our T1, and that's all we care about now. Yeah, this move right here may just change the framework of the day. It's really powerful, and I'm out. Wow. Wow.
Alright, so it's broken this microchannel to the upside. We have a new high, so I think why try to buck the trend? We just need to find where this thing's going to base at now. So I'm going to open up just the minute zones.
So there's like,
and see what I see on here. Oh, nothing's been created on the minute. So where's my 150 tick? Where's it at?
So this is like push one down on the NQ, and here we'll see. I mean, a lot of times with really strong trends, all you do is get one push, but I would look for another type of kind of push down. In the second push down, it could be a lower low. It could also be a higher low, like maybe it pushes up right below to 32.12, and then it kind of comes back down, and then it holds that 32.09. Now, and then that would be your second push. So that's like it'd be a double bottom pullback trend follow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
don't always be prepared for that double push, or that what do we call it? Double pump.
Double pump.
Yeah. Always be ready for that. That'll keep you out of so much stuff.
Yeah. I used to get burned by it a lot, and I still do sometimes. But I mean, the idea around that I've thought of with it, and it makes sense. Like, what are like the big boys, the bus drivers? How are they going to, cause pain and havoc and shake people out? And it's through that type of price action, because a lot of times person's first initial response, once they see it, stabilizing, going back up, they'll get long, and then they'll put their stop right below the most like recent pivot.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they'll pump it down again, burn those people, and then they'll have their own buy orders waiting right there below.
John, did you ever talk to Elizabeth? I think she's in the room.
No.
Okay, so Elizabeth used to work for Barclay.
Oh, really?
On the NASDAQ desk.
Mm-hmm.
And her way of trading and managing her book of business was to have two other guys that she worked with that were in different firms. Basically, she would tell them, "Hey, I'm going to be buying at this price. I have this many orders. Just buy everything all the way up. You know, just keep buying, and then you know, today I'll let you make the spread, which will be, you know, 5 ticks, 10 ticks, whatever the spread is that she was going to give them, right?" And so they would buy for her, you know, and they'd all be like all positioned at the side of a pit, and they would just be buying from her and buying, and then and it would come close to, you know, it hit the price where she would buy huge orders from them at that time, you know. So they'd be buying all the way up to there, just everything that they could, and then she would buy from them, and they would make, let's just say, this 150 tick zone. They would make make that spread, you know, but huge amounts of orders, like, so, you know, 10,000 orders from that guy, 10,000 orders from that guy, which produces that double pump idea, you know.
Yep.
And then the market reverses. So just be aware of that. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's you know, that's pretty much how climaxes occur. Like double pumps are kind of like a more mild type of climax rather than the more one that I think of when you have, you know, like super spike up and then all of a sudden you have like super down spike that covers it abruptly. But it's, yeah, I mean, it happens because you have, you know, people taking profits. Let's say they're long. They're taking profits, and then the savvy people also at the same time are going short. And so, yeah, that's where you see like the really big climatic, you know, move to the upside, and then boom, another big, yeah.
So just something that I've come across.
Oh yeah, no. I've just kind of come to that. I mean, I've looked at the bars so much and stuff like that. You start thinking to yourself like, all right, well, what were the big boys thinking here? What were they doing? And what was their mindset? And you know, when you kind of think about that, that's, you know, it helped me, you know, even get to that understanding. Now this is bullish on oil for sure.
Mhm.
I had a feeling about that, but that's fine. I mean,
I just got stuffed out of oil.
Yeah.
But I had T1 and T2.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Yeah. But now you just, you know, you reset, you look at the bars, and it's like, okay, what's the story now? And for me, you know, I almost maybe might be looking for a trend follow to the long side. Although, you know, there's also the possibility that this one level was very strong, this 101.39 or 101.29. But yeah, I mean, I guess the point I was trying to make is, you know, you got to be quick to switch sides sometimes, and you just have to be objective about it and let the price action tell you to do that, and not your emotions or anything like that.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, guess who has been long since the open on the CL?
Cash? Yeah. See, I kind of had, like, it goes through those levels, and it's like, it's so violent, and it wasn't like, it wasn't pumping down into it, so it's not like there's a lot of, like, established areas of resistance. And so even though, like, it pierces that level, I was kind of expecting some kind of, you know, buying to the upside, which is what had me initially get long in the first place, and I hit T1 and T2 off it.
Okay, so we had a doji here on NQ,
Yep.
so I'm thinking that this thing can definitely go below that doji and give us a nice little retracement, maybe down to the 102, or I'm sorry, 3201 area.
Yep, it just made a lower low. Although, where's Globex high?
3203.
Okay. So that's right, whereabouts. That's kind of what I was eyeballing. And we got 5 minutes.
So that could happen here at the bottom of the hour.
Yeah, and that would make sense around that like 3204 to 3206 area, because there it was kind of in a channel, and then it had another bull spike out of that into a tighter little channel.
Right. Now, to me, this is an ideal type of setup. Okay.
Yep.
So we got a real good red bar that closed below the green bar, and limit orders can go right there, but expect to possibly be retested here in the future. You know, I always look to be retested on entries like this, but that's what I'm looking for. Failure to break the high, and boom. Okay. Doji on the 15-minute candle helps confirm that, and now the fact that we're pushing lower gives it a little bit more credence to this short play. So, but I realize that I'm still in a very bullish move, and this is a counter trend trade. You know, the trender's pointing up. All the 15-minute bars, there's a whole lot more green bars than there are red bars. This is counter trend, you know?
Yeah.
But I see profit.
Yeah. You're just trying to look for areas where you can hit those T1s. And also, you know, could yield the T2 easily. But when you're going counter trend, like, you want it to be, like, that gave you an established range. You want it to, like, be a broader range. You don't, like, you want the channel, like, if it's in an upward channel and you were looking to do a short, you want it to be, like, a broad one.
Mm-hmm.
Not a tight one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you know that.
I mean, there's nothing up here that tells me hard supply-demand type of thing right now.
No.
So as far as context goes, you know, I realize what I'm doing, and, you know, I'm not going to be mad getting stopped out for runners.
Yep. All right. Here's my second little push that I'm looking for on crude. And it may just hold.
Okay, there was a nice little trend follow long.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for that, of course, you want to take it after this green candle closes above there, you know?
Yeah. Seems like lately you've been waiting more for the engulfing signals to close, get the close engulf, or at least like it engulfs and then you let the candle close and then you read it and then you go for it, right?
Right. Well, especially when it's a one bar engulf, you really need to wait for that one
Yeah.
bar engulf candle to close and give you some good idea that what's going on there.
All right.
Okay, so now it's time of day. We're at the 7:30 time.
Shit, I missed it. Gosh darn it.
Wow.
Well, I was thinking the right thing. I'll pat myself on the back for that. I didn't know it was going to do it like that, but whatever. Holy shit.
Oh, on the long on CL.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's got some power here.
Yeah. It had some power back when it was at 101.20. I mean, just like that rant. Yeah. When I got stopped out of my T2 and my T3 and the way that the price action was, and then it started going into a tight channel, I was like, oh, there's going to be a spike that comes out of that channel.
Mm-hmm. And we just created a new 15-minute zone right on that line, you know. So it's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Resistance becoming support, and boom. But it was a time of day type of trade too. It almost feels like inventories considering what time it is and whatnot.
I just should have hit buy market. Look at these strong moves. NQ, the double pump. It's all about the double pump pullbacks when you know you're on the right spot of the trend.
Mm-hmm. One, two, and boom.
Yep. On crude, it was much more subtle. It was not as direct as that type of double pump.
Wait a second.
But it was there.
Did anybody actually take the NQ long that I was pointing out? Like, I'm just kind of curious. No? Okay. Because all I'm doing is reading support and resistance, and obviously we had that double pump to the downside, like what I was mentioning. That beat the micro trend. Remember the micro trend line? So it's now officially beat that. So my trend line's over here now. And, you know, it's okay.
It is okay.
But I was just going to say, because I was reading support and resistance, and I was like, you know, I'm not surprised to find a little SR over in here whatsoever. But I was just kind of curious if anybody was so inclined to jump onto the trend following to the north, as I was stating that this was a counter trend type of trade, you know. You know, looking at my P&L today, I'm actually not doing too bad. So I think I'll call it here. But I think I'm going to be done trading for the day now. I've had some good trades, some good T1s, a couple T2s, and think we'll be good.
Yep.
And something that I would like to kind of contradict with you a little bit. I love these moves here on CL with the big bullish move like this, but you know what? So what if I missed it?
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm not. Yeah, no. That happens on CL.
Now, obviously, like the people like me that were looking for the trend following shorts, we got trapped up here. You know, that's where I got stopped out. You know, but a lot of times you will be able to find reversals like this at type of a support resistance type of deal. But you have to know who's getting trapped, you know, and why they're getting trapped. So people that were following the trend or were following like the moving averages and things like that, I got stopped out, you know, trying to follow that downtrend. And a lot of times where people are getting stopped out, it will come down a little bit, find support resistance wherever that is, like in this area. You'll get the move to the upside. Was it last week that I did something like this and I got like 100 tick plus move? What was that? Do you remember that, John? You were there.
What was that on crude?
Yeah. I forgot what it was, but it was a really nice type of deal. But it's just because I knew that a lot of the trend following shorts were getting stopped out at that time, and it was just a simple support resistance zone, small trend following zone type of trade. So
Nice.
I could have swore you were there.
I probably was. I mean, this type of thing happens all the time on crude, though. I actually, I mean, even though we're within that 15-minute, I got long and hit my T1.
Look at how it bounced off that 15-minute bottom of that zone there.
Yeah, that's what that's definitely what I was doing.
See, this is the amazing part to me. Like, why in the world did it bounce there? You know, like, what? I don't know. Like, why 5 ticks into this? You know, I don't know.
Why is the sky blue?
But it feels like it has context now. You know, like whoever's steering this thing around, like they really know where my levels are. For whatever reason, I see this happen actually quite a bit. Where a supply zone bottom actually acts as support, you know, or vice versa.
Oh, well, yeah, and it happens like especially all the time when it's like you had the level was like broken out of, or, you know, entered into by a really, really, you know, strong impulsive move as this was. So I mean, it spiked, and yeah, it did touch like that 15-minute initially, but number one, you don't, if you were expecting a trend reversal, so we've been talking about like the 2 pushes. For like a trend reversal, like if you thought this 15-minute level was going to hold on crude, and this is, I mean, the scenario that I'm about to say, it could just pan out here even though I'm long, and I hope it doesn't, but you want like 3 pushes, and on the 3rd push, hopefully that's like the final push, and then that might be your time to, you know, go against the trend. But you don't do, after you see that type of spike on crude, even if like you're eyeballing that level the whole day long, you have to wait because of, you know, the context of the way price action came into that level. Because after you see that big spike up, you should almost expect some type of trading range, and it's most likely going to be, I mean, it is going to be an upward channel. So that on NQ kind of looks like a little flag that's coming off right now, and that was like the second low, and we don't have any zones there, but we do have Gabe's little trend line. So I think you'll probably just see, and it may come soon, who knows, but you're just going to see like a nice little really bullish green candle shoot up.
Okay, so I feel like that previous red candle may be something interesting there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to check it just with like my little 150 tick zones just to see. No, not quite there. Not quite there. So there's where the 150 tick zone is. The trend line is right there too. So we'll see what happens here.
Spike. Come on, pop that top.
So look at the 15-minute bars. They're failing to break new highs. Dojis. Hammer candle, totally in the wrong area, you know. So technically this hammer candle is in a 60-minute ETH zone. So, and you can see we popped the top there just by a few ticks, but we'll just see how this level plays out.
Yeah. Yeah.
The trend is not down, so
No, because this could just be your little tight consolidation range that you're seeing on. Yeah, you see it on the 15-minute where Gabe has this rectangle, and it could just hold the bottom of that. Heck, it could shallowly make like a lower low maybe, and then, you know, just be a weak downward channel, which is a bull flag, and then, you know, you get a continuation move up. Now if that's broken, and it's broken with some force, then, you know, maybe yeah, the context changes a little bit, but that's why, you know, you gotta bend, not break.
the other thing is to stay really agile in your thinking, you know.
Yeah.
Don't get married to the long side or the short side, you know. Like, if the counter trend trade presents itself very cleanly, take it.
Yeah.
You know, get that first target as soon as possible, play your range, and then let it fall where it may.
Yeah, I've benefited from kind of thinking like, yeah, instead of if you don't, if you're going to get married in anything, it shouldn't be like to one side bias. It should just be to a bias of particular type of setup that you have, because that's the whole point of what we're doing, where we have, these several type of setups that we feel yield a high probability of success over the long term of time, and then, that's why we keep firing them. If it doesn't work out, that's okay.
Alright, so this thing's not hitting my my trend line like I want it to. It's not giving me conviction right here, so I think I'm going to take it off.
Yep.
It does look like a range, basically on the extremes of the box that I drew. That's where the range kind of lies. So up here, maybe down here, something like that.
Did Cash say he was long from the open, or or did he get? Jeez.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
He's good.
From the open.
He's good. Here's his trade.
Good. Yeah, I saw it. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. Wow. He's in with 4 still. That's impressive.
Oh, he must have been doing more of a swing type of set. I don't know. What he was. What made him say, all right, I'm going in at .85 right at the open, and he looks for those Bollinger Band pierces. I know that on his 15-minute.
He must have entered at Wait, is this the same seal? Yeah, it is. So he entered before the open.
No. Open was at 6 on that chart.
Oh, gosh, why was I thinking... You're right.
I got long where that, where your little mouse was. That's where I got long on, my first trade of the day.
Yeah. And I took it short from up here, into that level. And then I took it short from here.
Yeah, I took it short in that little flag area, which was just the pause between pullback number 2 before we started seeing the spike on the channel. The spike, from the test at the bottom of the upward channel, and then once it tested that double top zone, and it was, just overlap, that's making me think, all right, this thing is about to spike through, and that's what it did.
Yeah. That was really cool. It was outside the Bollinger Band, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I like that. I liked it. And I don't use the Bollinger Band, but for me, the reason that was attractive is because it was a fresh zone, and I looked at the context of the price action, and you like to enter on retests of those areas where it was just, a really nice bull spike out, which is what, that was back at, I guess, 806 or 605 or 606. When the zone was initially formed. Really that level gave, in that move that happened at 806 gave, that was probably the crucial, that led to this whole up move even happening.
Mm-hmm. I probably would have had a 10 tick stop on it or so, which would have been
Yeah, that's what I
down
did.
there.
That's what I did. I got in a .91.
Because,
Actually, a 12 tick. I had a 12 tick stop.
like, this was okay to enter. I would be a little concerned about the double pump, possibly going down here. But, yeah. And technically, it would be right there, or it'd be at the open of that candle right there.
Oh, don't worry. I was concerned about that, but I guess I felt like another push was going to play off of that initial move up that happened from the open.
But that's the consolidation that we're really retesting here on the right side of our chart.
Yeah.
Which, we all saw this. I took this short into that area because, you know, why not?
Yeah.
Was my thinking. It could have easily broke too. So.
Uh-huh. Speaking of breaking, come on, CL. Pop this. Pop it. I like it. I like it a lot.
But that was definitely outside of his Bollinger Bands and really
Yeah,
good
there.
entry.
If he entered there, but what I'm saying is if he entered like right at the open, and he's held from there, like that was 23 minutes. That was on our bottom of the hour window where you got
so
your thing.
Yeah.
Because that's where I got long, initially.
So you think he actually entered like over here
Yes.
then, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
Man, that's aggressive. Huh. That's aggressive.
And that's why I'm saying, I don't know what he's looking at for. I mean, I guess maybe he sees like. I mean, because that's a. If he, oh man, I don't know if he's like. I know he's hit a T1, so he went in with more contracts than that, and so like I mean, you have to put your stop below like 100.60.
Mm-hmm.
If you're him right there, and that's like, I don't know, that's a lot of, yeah, that's a lot of risk. And so, I mean, if you're, I guess if like the signal is, from like a 10-minute chart or maybe even like a 5-minute, I can see that, but I don't see how you look at like that 377 tick and then you decide like, well, that push up, those 4 bars those 4 bull bars are nice, but to be like, okay, I'm swinging it based on this.
Mm-hmm.
And he does it like his 15-minute chart. He doesn't look at the RTH.
Yeah. That's just wow. That's okay. So you had a new low, right? And then a failure. This red candle failed to break the low. So you count it as a retest of the consolidation at the bottom. And then he gets long as soon as he gets, wasn't even a tweezer bottom. Like,
yeah, that's what we're saying. I mean, we don't know exactly where we were getting long, but from what I know of Cash and what he's done, that I'm speculating that that's where he did it. Ooh, I kind of thought, NQ, interesting. So that's turned into a little micro channel, a little down wave.
That's aggressive.
It's aggressive, and like you can say like based on, I mean, if you're looking off the bigger time frame zones, and you're like, okay, that 100.90 has been a really robust. It's like I have a 240 zone that goes that's brown from 100.91 to 102.03, and it's been really robust. And I mean, because it's brown.
Mm-hmm.
And you think that, that was just a really climatic move coming into it. And, I mean, because a lot of times the best type of, if you're taking a trade right at the pit open, it's because you're basically looking for an immediate reversal of all the price action that was happening like hours before that, because, it was so climatic and just kind of shenanigan-y. And that's what this was. It just it didn't hold yesterday's low, which shaded people out. Luckily, it didn't give a good signal there.
All right, so here we are at the Globex high again. So I'm gonna flash my 150 tick zones and see what's down here. Oh,
Let's see what.
That's right there.
Yeah. Let's see what the TF looks like.
And we had a small inside bar. Not that close to the top of the hour, but it could definitely, that was a spinning top, nice formation. Aggressive entry would be to take this as soon as this forms, but I'd want to take my first target up there, because it could still power through. But you have small risk.
We're just testing the 5 minute.
So it's best
Moving
just to
average.
do 1-to-1 right there. On NQ?
Yeah.
Where are my moving averages at? Oh, I didn't load them. That's where they're at. Yeah, that would be really aggressive in my book.
What, the NQ long?
Yeah, off of this Globex low level, or Globex high level, with that, just this taking the spinning top candle. But that's how I would play it, just because we don't know that price is going to beat this. In that wick of the previous red candles right there, so it's very possible that that could act as a really, really small resistance.
Yeah. You want to see, I mean, I would almost want to see a push above 3206 just to kind of make me think like, okay, I might not be stuck within this micro channel anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a lot of other things going for me that, make me want to do this in the first place.
Right. I would really rather wait until the time of the day, like 8 o'clock-ish,
Yeah, sure.
10 o'clock-ish, 11 o'clock, whatever time zone you're in. But a really aggressive entry. Looks like it's, going to give that red candle a good run for its money. But, yeah. I'd be concerned about a double pump too.
That's what you wait for the second, and that's kind of what we were saying earlier. I mean, that's a micro channel down that made a lower low, and you may want to go long, but the thing with micro channels is like after you see that first initial leg to the upside like we're seeing now, chances are there's going to be some kind of retest, and the retest may make a much shallower, lower low, but that'd be your second pump, or it could hold. make a high or low. Wow, he did do all of the open. It's got to be his 15-minute Bollinger Band thing, which I've used before, and I liked it back when I used it.
Alright, so it looks like that aggressive type of setup really did work out pretty nice.
Uh-huh.
Here's a little resistance here that we can see in the middle of this chop.
I'm already long on CL, but it doesn't matter. But what is your take on the potential trend fall along that's right here?
As far as CL goes,
Uh-huh.
I think you kind of already missed it if you're looking at it right now. But
Well, no, I mean I've been long since 9:30 something. And I hit the T1.
yeah,
I've just been waiting, but just from the fact that you had the spike and then you've had price just enter into some type of range. But I mean it just kind of depends on what happens right here.
yeah. Well, I don't really want it to break this level, like that 15-minute supply, but I mean it definitely can.
Yep.
So it's failed to break the high of the zone, so there's yeah, it's a wait and see type of entry for me.
Yeah, yeah. Because this could just be a corrective channel. Like I just got stopped out of my 2 targets, my 2 runners, which is fine.
The thing would have been to actually get the long. Okay, so I got stopped out up here, and then when it came down, and then it failed to break this low again, hitting off that fresh 15-minute zone. That would have been your entry long for an aggressive type of long position. First target.
Yeah, no, that's what
there.
I barely missed. Yeah, I barely missed that. It came within a tick of filling me. I just should have hit market.
Mm-hmm. You know, now that I'm running this room, and I'm trying to, I don't know, speak my mind a little bit more, I find myself hitting a lot more market buttons. So.
Yep. I mean, I feel like it's just you. I mean, just take the, you just take the tick of slippage and.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it looks like
especially with like trend fall moves, you just miss it. Yeah. Sorry about that, Gabe.
Oh, that's fine. I was just gonna say it looks like our little resistance held here off that 150 tick zone. You know. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. These 150 tick zones really amaze me sometimes. Just
yeah.
Like you can get in there and like this micro trend, you actually got entries to the long side off of this, you know. Yeah. You had to play it fast, and you had to play something really, really small like these little 150 ticks. And you know, 150 tick might not be good for the market that you watch all the time, but it just gives you something to jump into a trend with, you know. And like if you want to measure, is this a real good pullback or not? Just measure it off that second lower time frame, you know. So, and that's why I think it's really interesting. But again, you have to know that you're really pushing into a new high, or you're not concerned about the. You know that you have space to the upside, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Still in the time of day, so.
Trading range, bear spike.
On CL, we are retesting the 15-minute moving average, and the 5-minute moving average, which is just a little bit below us.
Yep, it's pinned right in between them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, busting through that high here. Let's see if it'll go. Consolidating here on crude. Basically have a nice little tight range. Up here, down here. Which way is it going to break out of? I would hope in a trend following way. Or what we've seen so far is a trend following way, but we'll see. I can't say that I see anything right here to the left that this is a real good area to find support, you know? I guess you... I don't know. I'm not going to mention that right now.
Huh. What?
Oh, I was going to say, technically, there's two green bars surpassing a red bar here. So, it's a double bar long.
But
you know that you're in the middle of some chop here. And you haven't had any conviction to break this high.
yep.
And your stop is probably, 15 ticks to get on the bottom of this zone, or the bottom of the consolidation.
And it could just spike right down into that 15-minute where, yeah, people are waiting to reload.
So being patient always helps. I guess it is only 12 ticks if you take the open of that red bar.
But the spike that came before, it kind of makes you think that it could just make another spike lower.
Absolutely. That's why I didn't really want to mention this, just because I have no reason to think that this is the final support area, other than a moving average. Yep, saying it just broke below that. I need to keep my 15-minute in perspective here. Because the last thing I want to do is get sucked into reading small price action. Okay, so I just broke above that 150 tick zone. So it should be disappearing if it hasn't already. Now we really have the top here and where price bounced off of earlier. This is getting really choppy. I think it's also prudent to disable all these 150 tick zones and draw a trend line to the upside here, establishing 2 points. The other thing to draw would be another trend line to the downside, just so that we don't fall in love with one side. Because we do know that this is a 60-minute level that it barely surpassed, but now that we look at this, it sure feels like we could be entering a wedge, you know?